So far we've seen in the Megillah, the Megillah sets up all the protagonists and the events. Hashverosh is not portrayed in the Megillah as a wicked king. He's a lazy king. He likes to relax and let everybody run, other people run the kingdom for him. The Persian Empire is a very strict system that follows the laws. There could be crazy laws, but once it is put into legislation, everybody should follow them. Every little move is legislated. Even which language is spoken at the household, the wives or the husbands. The Haman is portrayed as a very ambitious person who wants to take over and eventually probably even topple the king. Mordechai probably understood who Haman was, and he knew that Haman eventually is going to be the top leader, and if he will be at the top position, the first thing he's going to do is to eradicate the Jews. So that's why he pulls him out to the open to reveal his true identity before it's too late. Esther, up until this point, is very quiet. She's very docile. She always does what Mordechai tells her. He is like a father figure for her. But when the confrontation comes, when Haman manages to get the decree out of the king to annihilate the Jews in a year from now, Mordechai comes to Esther and he says, go talk to the king. Esther says yes, but she's not doing it the way he wants it. She's doing it her way. That's where the shift in the Megillah happens, that Esther switches from being this quiet and sort of subjugated to Mordechai to become an independent woman and very strong in her plan, in the way she carries it out. And she manages to manipulate all the men around her, mainly Haman and Ahashverosh. What does she do? This is in chapter 5 of the Megillah. She dresses with royalty. The Megillah says that she dressed with royalty, not with royal garbs, with royalty, meaning that she changed her whole mentality. Now, she brings her inner strength, and she walks and she's strength. Her posture, her demeanor is now that of a queen. She comes and she presents herself to Ahashverosh in a very dangerous situation because she's not supposed to go into the inner chambers if she's not called. But because she surprises him, he doesn't expect to see her there. He could execute her on the spot. But when he sees her, he's completely taken aback because she looks different. So who's this woman that I don't know? And he says, Esther Malka, Esther the queen. He says, Malach Esther Malka, what is it that you want? And in his mind, she's now going to probably pledge allegiance to him, complete loyalty, because up until that moment, she didn't reveal her homeland. Not revealing her homeland, keeping a secret from him, means that she doesn't fully trust him. And she knew that what is most important to him, to Ahashverosh, is loyalty and respect. That's why he got rid of Vashti. That's why he relies on Haman, because Haman is his loyal henchman. He does whatever he wants. That's why when Biktan Vateresh were plotting to kill the king, they wrote it down in the protocols. Right? It means that the king had enemies around him, obviously, and he appreciated the fact that people are loyal to him. So now that she offers him that loyalty, I'm fully yours, he's very happy. He says, come over, I'll give you half my kingdom, which means we will be equals. I'm going to treat you as an equal partner. You're my queen, I'm the king, that's it. Now what does she do? She brought him up at that moment. She built up his expectations. She's a very shrewd negotiator in the way she or manipulator, the way she deals with him. She built up his expectation. He now thinks that she is going to be fully committed to him. She finally is accepting her role as a queen. She's an amazing woman. She's a powerful woman. Together they will be a good couple to lead and she was willing to risk her life to come talk to him. So he's very, very pleased. He's flattered. What does she say? What is it that she wants? Come with Haman. Haman, the moment he hears the name, why is Haman thrown into the story? What is it? Do we have a love triangle? He's not happy with that. He says, I want you to come to the feast. When? Today, now. So there, you have an emergency meeting. You want me and Haman in the party. What happened? Like, are you sending me a message? She's very upset. So again, at the feast, he asks her, "What is it that you want?" She says, "Come tomorrow. I'm going to throw another party, and tomorrow I'll tell you." So now she sends them home, the two men. Both of them extremely agitated, one in a positive way, one in a negative way. What happens with Haman? I mean, we have to put a certain section here in parentheses and read just the way both men left the meeting. In verse 9 of chapter 5, it says, "Vayetze Haman bayom ha'u sameach v'tov lev." Haman left extremely happy. And in the beginning of chapter 6, which says, "Balayla ha'u nadeda shnat hamelech." The king, on the other hand, couldn't fall asleep. What did she do? She strung Ahasuerus's anxiety. She built him up. I love you. I'm committed to you. And then she said, "I want Haman with us in both feasts." So now he's thinking, what is going on here? Either she's in love with him. It's a romantic thing, or there's a plot against me. It's a political thing. Maybe there's a coup d'état that they're planning. Maybe it's both. Maybe they're both in love and they're going to kill me. So what is going on here? Now he can't execute them on the spot. He would have done that. She put herself again in great risk. But he wants to see exactly what's going on. He cannot fall asleep. Haman is extremely excited. He was being promoted up until now. He was the Grand Vizier, right? The chief of staff, or the head of the cabinet. But now he's also the confidant, not only of the king, but of the queen. So this is direct way to the king's heart. This is what he thinks. He doesn't look at it as in a romantic way that she loves him or anything like that, but rather as a political power that he is now given. So what does he do? He goes home and he summons all of his followers, all his supporters. It's a big meeting. This is what is happening. I'm heading to become the ruler of this land, and probably he's thinking the next step will be I will be the king. Now, what is not written in the Megillah is that, and probably that happened, that Ahasuerus had spies go over to his scouts, his secret police, go over to Haman's house to see what's going on. They come back and they report to him, this is a big meeting. Well, limousines are pulling in. It's like the mafia gathering. And he says, well, this is really like a rebellion in the making. Now he starts thinking, how can this happen when he cherishes loyalty, like any ruler would? He cherishes loyalty. He says, why are people not loyal to me? This is happening under my nose and no one tells me. Why is that? He says, it must be that being loyal to me is not worth it. The reason why would people tip me about things that are happening around me? Because they expect reward. And maybe people did good things for me and I didn't pay them. That's the reason that he cannot fall asleep, because he's worried about Esther, about Haman. But the reason that he says, "Vayomer le'avi et sefer hazichronot divrei yamim vayihiu nikreim lifnei hamelech," that's a verse that we say out loud. He says, bring the annals, the records. I want to go through them. And they were reading them, and it says, "Vayimateh katuv," and they found that it was written that Mordechai told the king about the plot against him by Bigtan Vateresh. Why did they find it? It's not that we're just reading that to look what are the interesting events of the last couple of years. Rather, they were looking specifically. The king said, I want you to find a record of a case where someone showed me loyalty and he was not paid for it. Because if this is the case, if I find something like that, I will make a public display of rewarding loyalty. The whole idea of this is how the king rewards someone whom he wants to respect or to honor, is the way is the way that the FBI today would say the most wanted list, $1 million reward or something like that. That's the reward, that's the bait. He says, you see that? Here, Mordechai saved my life, tipped me about a possible plot. I will reward anyone who tips me about a possible plot with even more than that. That's the idea. So that once he finds that Mordechai was not paid, how was he paid? They say lo na'asai modavar, he was not rewarded at all. The king said, who's in the courtyard? Now we didn't say just randomly who's in the courtyard. My Hazar, when I was growing up, used to emphasize those words like to show the confusion of the king. Mi behasel, meaning what was? No, it was Haman. Why did he say that? Because Haman came to the outer court to ask the king to execute Mordechai. So when we say Haman came, it's not tiptoeing into the palace. It's chariots and horses. There's a whole entourage. So the king hears him and says, "Who's that? Like early in the morning, coming into the palace? What is going on?" They say, "Ine Haman omed b'chatzer." It's Haman. So the king says, let him come in. Haman doesn't know that he's just putting himself in a greater risk because he's already the suspect. And now he shows up early in the morning. He says, please come in. And the king says, how should I reward someone? And here also our Hazan used to read it with the intonation. Like, who else but me would be rewarded by the king? He's so blind with his arrogance and his ambition that he didn't read the king's reaction to him invited to the feast. So he says, "Oh wow, beautiful! Not only Esther invites me to the feast, to this party, now the king wants to honor me." So he goes, the full steam ahead, and he spills out the beans. He says exactly what the king doesn't want to hear. I mean, he knows now the truth, but the king is extremely upset by that. Why? Because he says, if you hear the number of times that he mentions the word royalty is 1, 2, 3. It says Hamelech, Malchut, Hamelech, Hamelech, Malchut, Hamelech, Malchut, Hamelech. It says the word Malchut, royalty or king, 7 times. He says this: the men whom the king desires to honor, let royal garb which the king has worn be brought, and a horse on which the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal diadem has been set. And let the attire and the horse be put in the charge of one of the king's noble courtiers, and let the men whom the king desires to honor be attired and paraded on the horse through the city square, while they proclaim before him, this is what is done for the men whom the king desires to honor. Now, 2 things that Haman mentions are they border on treason. And that is, he wants to wear something that the king wore before. Unheard of. The whole idea of a custom is that we get into the character of the other person. In the Bet HaMikdash, a Kohen was not allowed to wear the uniform of the high priest, of the Kohen Gadol. In the army, if someone wears the uniform of an officer and he's not, he's going to be punished. And riding the horse of the king, Haman says, I already envision myself, I see myself as the king. So the king hears him and says, you're a traitor, this is really dangerous. Why doesn't he kill him on the spot? Because he doesn't know yet what to do with Esther. Now he's convinced Haman is a traitor, but maybe Esther is with him. So he wants to, if he frames them, if he nabs them, he wants both at the same time. So he says to Haman, okay, go, everything you do, go and do it for Mordechai. Mordechai, Yehudia, Yoshev B'Shar HaMelech. Mordechai, the Jew who sits in the court in front of the palace. And the rabbis elaborate on it very nicely. They say that why did they have to specify Mordechai, Yehudi, Yoshev? Mordechai, the Jew who sits there. They said that Haman was trying to play the fool. He says, do it for Mordechai. He says, who's Mordechai? I don't know any Mordechai. You know Mordechai the Jew. He says, how many Jews are called Mordechai? It's a very common name. No, the one who sits there. And you know the nice thing about this is Hayoshev b'sha'ar HaMelech. The one who sits. The whole thing about Mordechai was that he wouldn't stand up and he wouldn't bow down. He says, you know the one who sits down and wouldn't bow down to you? Go do it for him. So obviously that throws Haman into complete despair because now he doesn't know what to do. Vayashom Mordechai sha'ar HaMelech veHaman nidhaf el beto avel v'hafoi rosh. Haman was, instead of the word nidhaf can be understood as being pushed, or he rushed home, like he went dahuf, urgent. And he goes, Avel v'hafui rosh. He's in mourning. He knows that it's almost the end. Almost.
In our Arabic, it's different.
Okay. In our Arabic, I know that one of the Hazanim was reading on Purim, and he was already a little drunk. And he says, he started cursing him in Arabic because he says, in our Arabic, when you say Abel Alenu, that's like, may he die and people will mourn for him. So, yeah. So, Taisdr.
When you're in mourning in Morocco, we took that from the Arabs.
The Arab would cut himself. Yeah. Taisdr, like from the Gzo. Yeah. Yeah. What did God do? Exactly. So now he comes back and he tells his advisors, this is what happened. And they come with a very smart advice. Before, when he told them that Esther invited him, they said, oh, you're on the path to success. Everything you do is going to succeed. You're going to be the king. Da, da, da. Now that he said, this is what happened, they say, if Mordechai is one of those Jews, that you have no chance. There's no way you're going to win. What, you didn't know that he was Jewish before? They said, when they had the discussion, he says, I can't bear to see Mordechai ha-Yehudi, Mordechai the Jew. And they said, hang him on the tree. Now they say, oh, we didn't know that he was Jewish. This is like the political commentary of the author of the Megillah. It tells you, not only in politics, anywhere in life, you have advisors, they will give you an advice. If it works, you see, I told you. If it doesn't work, they will retool what they told you. Right? You ask them, what car you think I should buy? Buy a Honda. You come back, says, oh, this was a terrible, I have a Honda, but I'm just saying that. So, I know. You come back and says, it's terrible, it doesn't work for me. Oh, it's a Honda that you bought. We told you it's not good, right? I mean, so the same thing here. It says, "Oh, in Bezer Hayudim Mordechai nafol tipo lefanav," and so now this is the next very tense moment of the Megillah. Haman and Esther and the king are sitting together, and we would have thought that Esther right away would tell the king, "Haman is trying to kill my nation," but instead she leaves him in suspense for a while. She builds the tension to the level of a volcano. She's very, again, putting herself in risk because he could kill her on the spot. But she wants him to be so angry that there would be no return for Haman. And she manages to do that. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll do it next time.